Nigeria last Wednesday marked 65 years of independence from British colonial rule, a milestone that called for the celebration of progress made and reflection on present challenges. Now, government after government since 1960 has tried to find solutions to these challenges, which cut across the economy, health, infrastructure, corruption issues, poverty, and many others, with varying levels of success. Now, aside the 65th independence anniversary, Nigeria has also witnessed 26 years of interrupted democracy since 1999, otherwise known as the Fourth Republic. Nigeria's first republic began in 1963 and was short-lived and collapsed in 1966. The Second Republic commenced in 1979 and also ended following the military takeover in December 31, 1983. Now, the Third Republic in the early 90s was aborted before it could begin. Presently, the battle for the Aso Villa seat in 2027 has begun, as it appears governance has been relegated for politicking. Now we have PDP, the Labour Party, and the ADC each believing it can wrestle power from the incumbent President Tinubu, come 2027. Now, joining us to unpack all of these is Afolabi Oloko, a policy analyst who joins us right here and right now. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Oloko.
Thank you for having me.
Now, when we look back from 65 years of independence in Nigeria and also 26 years of uninterrupted democracy, would you say Nigeria has fully matured politically?
Well, I think Nigeria has not really fully matured politically, and I'll tell you why. Over time, 65 years is a long time in nations' years. So having 65 years and the development is still the way it is right now, I think we have a long way to go. Now, this is the age of 21st century that we are right now, that things move fast in this world right now that we are. So I believe that all we need to do is to ensure that we are true to ourselves. 65 years of suffering of Nigerians, 65 years of all sorts of things. At some point we were going in a direction whereby the country was going good, but at some point we missed it. And missing it has cost us so much. Today I can tell you, we talk about Singapore, we talk about Malaysia and some other countries like that have left us. Now, Nigeria should be one of the countries in the world that are doing very, very well, but we've missed it. And how have we missed it? We can talk about the constitution, we can talk about electoral reforms, we can talk about so many things. And most importantly, I'll tell you this, the political actors has so much to do in all this. I'll tell you what, when we are in our 40s right now, when our parents are being burned, we have all these people in power. When we were born, they were still in power. Now we are grown, they are still in power. So when you look at this whole thing, you find out that what is wrong, you just find out that something is wrong, and we know it. All of us know it. Now, how do we now come around to change all this narrative? It is, number one, I believe very strongly that Nigeria needs a reform, the electoral reform, which is very, very, very important, to the point that all the politicians should be ready to sacrifice. A lot of them believe that they might lose at the end of it. That's why they circumvent the electoral system most of the time. And this is a big problem for the nation. So I think if we can have a very strong electoral reform whereby when votes are being counted, people vote, their votes are counted, they know that they are voting for whoever they believe in. I tell you, at the end of the day, we are going to have a system that works. But when we don't have all this, then it becomes a problem. So I feel and I think and I believe that 65 years is too much a time for us to still be backward. Now, for instance, when technology is so much around the world right now that we can use technology to achieve so many things. When the last time we had this election in 2023, you know what happened, whereby direct electronic counting, paper counting, and so on and so forth. Why? It's just because they want to circumvent the elections, not because it cannot go. We have beavers. Beavers should have been working and should work perfectly well. Then we started hearing glitches and all that. That's not what we need. All we need is to ensure that we have a system that works. When it works for every one of us. It works for everybody. And at the end of the day, we can always say, yeah, we have a Nigeria that works. And everybody will be relaxed that, okay, if I go to the polls today, I vote, my vote will be counted. And there will be no kind of problems.
Now, there's something you said about, the kind of politicians we've had who have been the helm of affairs in Nigeria. You talked about the fact that, people who were in office while we're children, and now that we're adults, they're still in office. So one might wonder that perhaps the problem is that we've had a lot of recycled, politicians. How can we change this? How can we have probably a fresh start, or have some level of, freshness in terms of our politics in Nigeria?
Well, like I've said, I made it very clear that, look, all we need to do is to have a very strong electoral reform whereby when we have it, then people will be able to vote and their votes will be counted. If we have this, there will be, but the major thing is for these politicians to have the willpower to say, let's have it. If these elites do not decide to say, okay, let us have electoral reform that works. Look, you can remember the Electoral Act of 2022 that, there was this amendment and all that. It was almost perfect. But when it's being circumvented, it will not work. It is people that did all the reforms and all that. It is still people that will bring it down. So if we can have all these political actors, I'm talking across party line right now, that if all these political actors decide to say, okay, let's have a reform that will work in our country, that will work for our children and our children's children, then everything will change.
Now, we're less than 2 years to the next election, right, 2027. Do you think the early start of the 2027 election campaigns is healthy for Nigeria's democracy, or does it signal, neglect of governance? Well, if we're talking about 2027 election right now.
Well, it is very unfortunate that what we are witnessing right now is campaigns, but it's the problem of it's a systemic problem actually, whereby 2 years to an administration we've started big time campaigns, and it's not until when all these things change then we can now see governance. If governance in 2 years has stopped, then we have a serious problem. And when people are so desperate to be in power has always been the problem. Everybody wants to be in power. When they are in power, then they can't do anything. So I feel that if we can have an electoral reform that is good, that everybody is going to relate with, that everybody is going to okay, we believe in these electoral reforms and all our votes will be counted, and the beavers will work, the IRA will work, everything will work, and in real time everybody is seeing who is voting for who. Then we have no problem at the end of the day. It will work that way, and then there will be no problem of saying everybody are so agitated and being anxious that they want to campaign and keep campaigning in 2 years. No. So now that's the problem. Now the government of the day, for as far as I am concerned, I don't see what they are doing. People are crying. People are suffering. People are jetting out of the country all the time, even to, neighboring countries that don't even have all we have, because people are desperate. That's why people are going out all the time, that they just want to have a better life outside the country. So the government needs to work, and not just working, real work for ordinary Nigerians.
Now, we're counting down to the 2027 elections. Whether we talk about the fact that the campaign has started too early or not, we're gradually getting there. And we have, our parties in the opposition, side, likes of the PDP, the Labour Party. And I would say newly, the ADC also seems to, stand strong in terms of from the opposition angle of things. Which of these parties do you think is capable enough to unseat President Bola Tinubu come 2027?
Well, I don't know. I don't know which party will unseat the president, but as far as I am concerned,
in terms of what they've done so far, where they are,
well,
what do you think?
It's obvious that most of these political parties are what we were actually still talking about, or what I talked about earlier, that these are recycling of the same set of people going from one place to the other, trying to canvass people for votes, and all we need is people that are genuine, people that are ready, people that are capable to rule the country, not just ruling the country, to ensure that the sufferings of people are being, mitigated in one way or the other. We need it. People are crying every day, and this same set of people are still the ones championing to be leaders. And people, a lot of people are, people are weak. People don't know what to do, and that's why when they suppress people, how do they suppress people? They suppress people by giving them peanuts. And we don't have all it takes as people, but the only thing that we have, they still take it away from us, and that is our voting. So I believe, and I know that this country is still going to be great again, but how do we go about it? Is that people come together, people believing that all we need is to ensure that there is a level playing field for everyone to vote, so that their vote will be counted, so that their vote, people will have all the opportunities to vote and be voted for. And at the end of the day, you will know that I have voted, and I have voted for someone I want, and the person wins, fine. If not, there's another time. And whoever wins at the end of the day, if he or she performs, you will see it, and it will be very clear.
Mr. Oloko, before we let you go, I just want to just find out, because you talked about the fact that we need to look at our electoral reforms, but aside that, which other key reforms or leadership qualities must Nigeria prioritize to truly break out of where they are right now, or where it is right now?
Well, it's very clear that we need a new constitution in this country. The constitution has to be changed. The constitution we have presently is, it is not written by Nigerians. It's not by Nigerians. It's just some kind of document being put together for Nigerians that this is your constitution. We, the Nigerians, no, it is not by us. It's just by them. So if we can also have a better or a new constitution of the people, whereby all of us will say, this is what we sign up for. It's about social contract. So this is not about just some elitist thing or few people coming together to say, take this. No. So we want a reform. We want a better constitution so that this country will be great again.
I must say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Afolabi Oloko, for having this conversation with us right here on News Now.